All right. Big weekend of fights. I'm going to quickly break them all down, give my predictions, give my picks, and just give my takes on the fights. I would usually split this into the two separate videos with UFC 299 and Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, but I'm just in the mood. Some boxing fans like to pretend like they hate MMA. Some MMA fans like to pretend like they hate boxing. Guys, it's all combat sports. And actually, more than ever, this has a lot of crossover. Of course, Francis Ngannou coming from the UFC originally makes it more of a, collision of the two sports. So I feel like it would be more appropriate to put this all in one video this time. So I'm going to start off. I'll put timestamps for the people that want to skip ahead to just UFC or just boxing. You can watch this and not waste your time if you're not interested in one or the other. So yeah, first off, we're going to start off with Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. We all saw Francis Ngannou shock the world. You usually say shock the world when somebody wins, but he shocked the world just by being in the fight, just by dropping Tyson Fury, just by making it competitive. That alone shocked the world. Some people thought he won. Even if he didn't, what he did still was able to shock the world. We thought it was going to be an absolute wash, and he came in there very competitive and did better than a lot of real boxers did against Tyson Fury in the past. So now we look at this next fight. We see Anthony Joshua, who was a flawed fighter that we've seen flaws in the past. We've seen, chinks in his armor. We've seen him lose. We've seen guys be able to figure him out. We've seen him hurt. We've seen him stopped. We've seen him quit in a way. And that is something that we have never seen from Ngannou. His power is something that, we don't really know the extent of it. In MMA, he's the most dangerous, scary dude we've ever seen he's knocking people out. The Rosenstrick fight, he's just running across the octagon and just knocking them out like it's nothing. In boxing, yes, he dropped Tyson Fury, but his, it wasn't like, the most staggering one punch and you're, out cold. Even though he is definitely capable of that, we know Joshua is also capable of that. But I think the biggest theme in this fight that people are underestimating is the strength of Anthony Joshua's resume. I think Anthony Joshua, this is crazy to say because it's how long he's been in the game, how many belts that he's held, and, how well known he is, pound for pound, been, well known for almost over 10 years now, being a top guy. I think he's underrated. I think Anthony Joshua was underrated. And here's the reason why. I think that this fight is not going to be, Joshua getting exposed like the Ruiz fight, Joshua getting exposed like the Usyk fight. Joshua was a flawed fighter. Joshua was not as good as Fury. Joshua was not on that top level. Joshua has no chin. Joshua was not really top level. If you look at Joshua's record, he's not really as flawed as you think. He has a significant flaw, which is he struggles with smaller guys with fast hands. Look at his two losses, Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk. Smaller guys with fast hands. Look at even some of his wins that he's had a little bit tough of a road or gone to decision in. It's guys that are 6'2" and under. He struggles with those smaller guys that have fast hands. Because most of the heavyweight division, this isn't the 90s, this isn't the, Mike Tyson era. Most of these heavyweights are what they used to call like a super heavyweight. Everybody's 6'5" and up, 6'4" and up, 6'6", 6'7" Wilder, 6'9" Fury. This is the super heavyweight era. And Joshua was not used to fighting those smaller guys. Alexander Usyk, Coming up from cruiserweight, 6'2", Andy Ruiz. I believe 6'2". One of his tougher fights, Carlos Takam, 6'1". A guy that actually made it to the decision with him, Joseph Parker, he's 6'4", but for this era, that's a little bit on the smaller side. Somebody that had him pretty seriously hurt, Dillian White. I think he struggles with guys, like I said, smaller with faster hands. And that mainly came into account, of course, with the 2 losses in the Andy Ruiz fight and the Alexander Usyk fight. Smaller guys, fast hands, he has trouble with, because what he does when he fights these smaller guys with faster hands, he doesn't use his size, and he doesn't fight like he's 6'6", doesn't fight like the bully. He tries to outbox and outpoint these guys, and that's the issue. Remember, in the Alexander Usyk rematch, the best moment he has is when he just walked him down and started going to the body. He hurt Usyk. When he just walked him down and fought like his style. But now he's fighting Ngannou. He's never had trouble with guys that are his size or equally his size. His problem has always been faster hands. Better footwork with Usyk. And that's not what Francis Ngannou is bringing to the table. I think they're going to be pretty close in terms of hand speed. I think they're going to be pretty close in terms of power. I think they're going to be pretty close in terms of height and reach. And I just, you know what I'm saying, I don't see Francis Ngannou being able to expose his weaknesses. Now, there is one weakness that I think Francis could expose, which is his chin. People think that he's chinny now because of the Andy Ruiz fight, and, you know, the Andy Ruiz rematch, he kind of was on his bike and looked a little bit scared to get hit. But in my opinion, that's going to be the route for Francis Ngannou to win this fight. Because in my opinion, I think the most likely thing, and the thing that I would put my money on, is Anthony Joshua by decision. I think Anthony Joshua could stop Francis late. I don't think he's going to one-punch him, but I do think that Francis was definitely getting tired in that Fury fight. I think that Francis heavily benefits from this being only 10 rounds. If this was 12 rounds, I think he would definitely see himself getting into trouble late. He even said himself that he did not want 12 rounds. He wants 10 rounds. He's playing it smart. It's only a second boxing match. He said, no, 10 rounds. Make it 10 rounds. And I think that's smart on his side. And I do think that he'll be able to, make it competitive. I don't think he'll get blown out of the water. I think he'll land punches. Maybe he'll even hurt Joshua at some point. But I'm going to say Anthony Joshua by decision is going to be my pick for that fight, just because the weaknesses that I've seen in Joshua, the traits that I've seen in guys that were able to beat Joshua, Francis Ngannou just doesn't have. The one-punch power, of course, can come out of nowhere and, hurt Joshua. But if I had to put my money again, I'm going Joshua by decision. Now, moving on to UFC 299. Split the video right here. Timestamp. If you're not into UFC, thanks for watching. But UFC 299, this is going to be a big-time fight. O'Malley versus CHITO VERA. This is a rematch, years in the making. This has heat on it. This is almost 4 years in the making now. When this first fight happened, I said, watch these guys rematch for the belt. I have a tweet. Watch these guys rematch for the belt one day. That'll be pretty crazy. Because I knew if Sean ever got the belt, he's going to go after CHITO. I knew that he wanted that one loss back. As much as he liked to say, I never lost, it doesn't count. 12-0, 13-0, 14-0, 15, whatever his record is, he keeps trying to wipe that blemish off his record. But in reality, that really bugs him. the fact that he brings it up so much, it really has bugged him all these years. And I think that, a lot of MMA fans are seeing that Cheeto Vera may be the kryptonite to Sean O'Malley. And the reason why I say that is, yes, in the first fight, I came in a big fan of O'Malley. I liked Cheeto Vera as well, but I was a big fan of O'Malley. I was on the hype train and I was seeing him knock everybody out. And he came out the first round and he was styling on Cheeto for the minute or two that he was able to before the injury. He was styling on him. He was landing at will. He was piecing him up. It looked like a typical O'Malley fight. Leg injury happens. He gets stopped. And I think O'Malley's perception of the fight, which is what he's been saying, is he got lucky. I was piecing him up. I'm going to knock him out, is a valid takeaway from that first fight. Because I do agree that if you rewatch that fight, he was landing quite a bit early. But I think that also could be his biggest detriment. Thinking that he's going to come out, style on Cheeto, and that Cheeto's not going to be there still. Because this is a 5-round fight. Sean's never gone 5 rounds in the UFC. Maybe in his amateur career, possibly. But he's never gone 5 rounds in the UFC. I've never seen him go 5 rounds. Y'all can correct me if he has in his amateur career. But to my knowledge, he's never gone 5 rounds. Cheeto Vera is a 5-round machine. A lot of the fights that he's won, he's getting completely dominated early, turns it on late. Let's think. Rob Font got out early. Rob Font got out on a lead on him early. Dominic Cruz got out on a lead on him early. Frankie Edgar got out on a lead on him early. Then what happens? Stops Cruz. Stops Edgar. Just torments Rob Font. He survives, but just torments him. And I think of the 3, this fight could look like that Rob Font fight. I think O'Malley's going to land. I think that O'Malley actually has a very underrated team. Tim Welch doesn't get his credit just because he's kind of he's a young coach. He's a kind of a goofball, just like O'Malley. They both like to joke around. And I think he doesn't get his just due, but I think they do a great job game planning. And I think that he'll have Sean ready, and I think they'll have a smart game plan. Don't blow your wad. Pause. Trying to knock him out in the first round. Don't do it too early. Don't, try to do too much. Don't gas yourself out. But I think subconsciously in the back of his head, he does think that he can knock out Cheeto, and anybody can be knocked out. But I struggle to see it, man. That dude's durable. He has one of the best chins in the UFC. And I think that Sean is going to come out. If I had to make a bet, this is the exact bet that I would make. DraftKings, whatever. Whoever has it. O'Malley, under 2.5. Vera, over 2.5. I'd bet that. I'd bet the house on that. And the reason why is because Sean is going to come out styling him early. But I just don't know if he's, 1, has the cardio, and 2, is durable enough to be in a dogfight for 5 rounds. We saw him getting tired against Chris Moutinho. Y'all remember that? Chris Moutinho just sat there as a, human punching bag, walking forward, getting pieced up. And in the 3rd round, he eventually started actually landing. Of course, he's nowhere near the level of Cheeto Vera. I don't think that Cheeto, some people think that Cheeto's going to wrestle. I don't particularly think that he's going to do that. I don't think that Sean can just be thrown around. I think his takedown defense have shown to be pretty solid. Aljamain wasn't able to take him down. Peter Yan wasn't able to, just dominate him. He took him down, but he wasn't able to just completely dominate him in the grappling. So I feel like it's going to be a mostly striking affair, kind of a mixed fight. I think that Sean will either come out too heavy early, trying to stop him, gas out around the middle of the 3rd round, and then Cheeto takes over. And then we get to a decision, and it's kind of a toss-up because it's like, Cheeto dominated the championship rounds. Sean dominated it early. The 3rd round is like a swing round, and it'll be kind of a toss-up decision. That could happen. I could also see it where Sean has it in his head that he's so scared of gassing out, and he knows that Cheeto is such a dangerous cardio and durable fighter that he kind of just stays on his bike the whole fight, and it kind of is boring because I don't think that Cheeto is going to be able to find him when he's fresh. It's going to be very hard for Cheeto to land on him. I think Sean's faster. I think everybody knows that. It's going to be hard for him to land on Sean if he's fresh. So if Sean just decides to just fight on his bike, I think that it could be a boring fight in that way where he just can't hit Sean and Sean's not really engaging because he doesn't want to gas out. Potentially that could happen. Or, of course, Sean could knock him out. I think that's the least likely. Like a one-punch knockout, Cheeto. I think that's probably the least likely. Or this one, Sean dominates for 3 rounds, gasses out, and then Cheeto finishes him in the 4th or 5th round. Of those options, I'm probably going to lean towards the Cheeto by decision, where Sean dominates for 2 to 2.5 rounds. Cheeto starts to turn it on. Sean is kind of able to survive, but not able to, unload offense like he was in the first 2 rounds for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Once it gets to the 5th round, some people will say Sean won. Some people will say Cheeto won. The judges give it to Cheeto because he dominates the championship rounds, ends the fight coming forward, ends the fight with ring control, ends the fight, walking forward, maybe taking Sean down late, maybe, bloodying him up, maybe, basically kind of putting like a bully mode like he did against Rob Font. He just starts to bully you late. When you're gassed, he's turning it on. So I'm going to say Cheeto by decision. I'm going to say Cheeto by a close decision. Probably 1 round, 48-47 Cheeto is what I'm going to say. And just to move down that card, I'll quickly go over the other fights. We got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier. I'm going Dustin Poirier all day. Dustin Poirier all day, paid in full. I think this is going to be a lot like the Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. The old veteran just setting shit straight that I'm still here and I'm not here to be played with. I'm going Poirier by stoppage. I'm going Poirier by stoppage. Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. I'm cheering for Michael Venom Page because I like to see the other guys from other organizations do well. But man, Kevin Holland's good. If Kevin Holland mixed it up and uses jiu-jitsu, I would probably maybe lean Kevin Holland, even though Michael Page is not terrible on the ground, but I would definitely give Kevin Holland the edge in grappling, but I think that he's not going to do that. Of course, just like the Wonder Boy fight, he just says, fuck it, we're going to strike. So, you know what? I'm going to go Michael Venom Page, MVP. A lot of people are going to hate that pick, and it probably is going to age very poorly, and everyone's going to say he didn't fight nobody in the B leagues, and Kevin Holland's going to whoop his ass. You're probably right, but hey, I'm taking a wild card guess, and I'm saying, give me MVP. Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena. Y'all must have forgot I'm going Gilbert Burns. JDM's very good. Boxing's very good, but Gilbert Burns is just too well-rounded in my opinion. Give me Gilbert Burns by decision in that one. And then Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. This is really a hopeful bet. Give me no, hell no. Give me Peter Yan. Please. This is not a prediction. This is begging. Give me Peter Yan a win. Please. Thank you. If you need a way to watch the fight, guys, I will be live for both of these fights on my Instagram. My Instagram is the same as my YouTube name. If you need a way to watch either one of these fights, I will be live on my Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram and say, how do I watch it? And I'll get you together. UFC 299 on Saturday. Joshua versus NGANNOU on Friday. We are absolutely locked in. We're absolutely dialed in. UFC 299 is better than UFC 300. I said it. UFC 299 is better than UFC 300. Not only because the card is just as good, but ladies and gentlemen, it's Miami. It's spring break right now. Come on. if you're young, if you're only there for the fights and you're just locked in on the fights, maybe the spectacle of UFC 300, Vegas, really can't be touched as far as fight week. The infrastructure is set up perfectly. But if you're in it for a vacation, for a weekend, where you go to the fights, you go to the events, you go out at night, you have some fun, you hit the beach, come on. Give me UFC 299 over UFC 300 all fucking day as a fan experience. So if you're thinking about going to one or the other, I know it's late in the week, buy tickets right now. Get your ass to Miami because that shit is going to be better than 300 as an experience. Facts. Let me know your picks in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you thought I was wrong, if you want to bet some money, let me know. If y'all need a way to watch the fights, again, hit me up on Instagram and we'll get you right. Thank you guys. Appreciate you watching. Peace out.